We will do an exercise now where the cash payments journal and the cash receipts journal is available, so it was already completed. And then we received the bank statement from Absa Bank, so it means that we want to see which entries were already recorded and which entries we have to use to reconcile the books. Remember that you only use the bank column because that is the amount that's in your bank account. And in our books, the bank is an asset, so the cash receipts will go on the debit side. In their books, we are a liability, so the deposits will go on the credit side. So the bank statement is always the opposite of what we are doing. Okay, if I look at this cash receipts journal, I see that we made a deposit on various days and we have to tick them off against the bank statement to see if all of them was done. And then we see there's one deposit at the end of the month that did not appear on the bank statement. So it means that's an entry that the bank still have to record in their books. So this entry will go to the bank recon. Okay, if we look at the cash payments journal, we have to tick off the EFT payments that we made, 17. Then there's one for 234 and for 936, 1,500 and 900, and then the last two entries were not recorded. So it means those two payments that we made on the last day of the month did not appear on the bank statement. So we will record that in the bank recon to indicate that we will get this information on the next bank statement. Okay, so that's the first step that we have to do. We have to determine which entries are the same in our books and in their books. And then we have to pay attention to the entries that's not the same. So they will give you additional information to tell you about some of the entries that was not done. And it's very important first to do this additional information before you start recording entries in your journals. Okay, now, the cash receipts journal was already completed until the 30th. So we will start with this balance of 20,803. And we will just show all the entries that was done during the month. We just indicate what is the total of all those entries. So I'm not going to record it again because it was already done. We have to go on from where the bookkeeper stopped at the end of the month. Okay, then we will do the same with the cash payments journal. We will look at the totals at the end of the month and we will indicate that is where we have to do additional entries for the adjustments and the omissions. So I will just show these totals that when I add it, I can just add it to the new entries that I'm going to complete to see what is the total amount in the cash receipts and cash payments journal. Okay, then we will look at the entries that is given to us. An EFT payment was made to Tombi for repairs 480, less cash discount of 30. So if we look here, we see there is a payment of 450 and we will record that payment now in our cash payments journal to indicate that it's money that went out of the bank. So the amount will appear in the bank column and in the amount column, and they say that it was to pay for repairs. So the ledger account that you want to debit is repairs, and you will indicate that this was paid to T. Tombi. Okay, if we look at the second one, a deposit of $330 was made on the 30th, was a direct deposit from Mans Traders for rent. So we received money, so we will record it into our cash receipts journal. It was from Protea Florist. And this deposit was 330 Rand, and we will transfer this amount to our rent income account. And we will mark it in our bank statement to indicate that we've already recorded that 330. Okay. Then the stop order for 219 was for insurance premium paid to Old Mutual. So it's money that we paid out of the business. So it will go in the cash payments journal. And this amount was paid for insurance. Don't write insurance premium. The monthly payment is called your insurance premium, but your ledger account is only called insurance. And we will tick the 216 to indicate that we've recorded that 216. Okay, now we will look at our bank account and to see what was the balance of the bank account, and we will start with that balance. So here they say the debit balance at the beginning of the month was 5,400. So we haven't recorded any entries in our bank account during the month because everything was recorded in your cash receipts and cash payments journal, and we haven't posted that to the ledger. So this entry will be on May the 1st. Then on the 31st, I will indicate what is the total receipts that we received in our cash receipts journal. And when we add this up, it gives me 21133. These two will be the same because there wasn't additional entries. And then I will add up my sundry again as 3720. So the amount that we received in the bank was 21133, and that is in my cash receipts journal. Okay, I can't do the cash payments yet because there's still some entries that we have to record out of our bank statement. In my bank reconciliation statement, I want to stop where the bank they stopped at a negative 1734. That means that we have a bank overdraft if it's negative. If it was positive, then we had a favorable balance. Now remember, in the bank's books, if you have a favorable balance, it will be on the credit side, because in our books it's on the debit side. So if they indicate it's a minus figure, it's a bank overdraft, so it means it will be on the debit side. So I will start my bank reconciliation with a debit balance according to bank account. Okay, so that is the amount that we receive from the bank and on the bank statement they indicated that we have a overdraft of 1,734. So in my books, the deposits will go on the debit side. In the bank's books, the deposits will go on the credit side. In my bank, the payments will go on the credit side, and in their books, it will go on the debit side. Because according to us, our bank is an asset. I can get this money from the bank in the future, and according to them, we are a liability because they have to pay out this money to us. Okay, so if we look at our bank statement, we have to determine now the entries that was not recorded. So if I look at this 9 Rand, 6 Rand, 18 Rand, then it means that it's 18 is 24, 33 Rand. That is different fees that we had to pay to the bank. So I will indicate that according to the bank statement that we received from the bank, it means that we have to take 33 Rand out of our bank account, and that would be for bank charges. Now, sometimes they don't give you the name of the bank. Then you can just write ABC Bank. If they give you the name of the bank, then you have to use the bank that was given to you. So it means if there's no bank given, then I would write ABC, or if the bank is given, I would write the name of the bank. Okay, then there's an interest one. So this interest is on the debit side. If they give it in a sentence, they will say interest on the debit side. Now, what happens if something is on the bank and the debit side? In our books, it will be on the credit side. So I will indicate ABSA, and I will show that we have to pay 33 Rand to them, and we owe them the money because it's an overdraft, so it's interest on overdraft. So for instance, that interest was on the credit side, then you would write it in the cash receipts journal, and it will be interest on current account. Okay, then we just have to see if there's any more entries here that we haven't done. And if we look through them, all of them were ticked off. So it means that I've completed all the different entries that I was supposed to complete. Then I can just add up and see what is the total amount in my bank column. These two columns will be the same again because we didn't add additional entries. And the amount will be 18,918. So I will take this total and transfer it to my bank account. So on May the 31st, my total payments, or you can write sundry accounts, that I transfer from the cash payments journal is 25,275. And that's all the entries that I have to do, so I can add up the debit side. That gives me a total of 26,535. It means on the same line, I must have the same total on the credit side. And if I subtract those two figures from each other, I can determine what is my balance. So according to my bank account, we've got 1,267 Rand in the bank, and we will show on the 1st of June that we have a favorable bank balance of 1,276. Okay, if I look at my cash receipts journal, I see that there's an amount for 7,240 for a deposit that the banks still have to record. Now, anything that the bank must record must go on the side that they will record it. So cash receipts entries go in our books on the debit side of the bank. So this will go on the credit side of the bank statement. And I will show that there's an outstanding deposit. So credit outstanding deposit, indicating to me that this is the amount that must still appear on the bank statement at the beginning of the next month. Okay, if we look at our cash payments journal, there were 2 payments on the last day that did not appear on the bank statement. So we have to show that on the debit side, because in the cash payments journal, it means that it will go to the credit side of our bank, and therefore it will go to the debit side of my bank statement. And there's 2 payments, 1890 and 2340. Okay, then this balance that I calculated in my bank account, I always end with a balance. So it means what's very important here, I will use the balance in the bank statement on the last day of the month on the side that it will appear in their books. So because it was a debit balance, it went on the debit side because it was an overdraft. And we will always end our bank reconciliation statement with a balance in the bank account. So it's debit balance according to bank account. And we will indicate that it's in our books on the debit side. So the balances will appear exactly where they appear on the bank statement. So it's an overdraft, it will be on the debit side. If it's a favorable balance, on the credit side. And the balance that we indicate in our bank account must be in the same side. Then any entries that they still have to record. So it means not the balances, the other entries must go on the side that they will do it. That means on the opposite side of what we do in the bank. So payments will go on the debit side, and receipts or deposits will go on the credit side. Sometimes you get confused because some of the amounts you have to swap, but remember the totals or balances are exactly the same. The inside entries that they still have to record is the ones that will go on the side that the bank will do it. Then I will add up to see if my bank reconciliation is now the same. So it means that because I've taken their balance and I showed what is all the adjustments they must make, and I've recorded all the additional entries in my books, these 2 totals should be the same now. Now, if you get this in a test and it's not the same, just leave it like that, because it's possible that you left out one entry that you will lose 1 or 2 marks. But if you start looking for the mistake, you don't finish the next question and you lose more than 2 marks, and you get all 10s so that you're not able to do the rest of the test. So if you get to this figure, don't decide, okay, that side is 7240, so I'll make this total the same. You put in the totals that you calculated, and you just carry on with the next question.